they even find that in these video games that these young kids play, that these kids can't separate reality from fiction when they're playing the game. And a lot of the chemical reactions they're having when they play the high-prone violence games are addicting. It's almost like a cocaine and meth kind of addiction, and they spend literally hours on it like an addict would. And so you're absolutely right about the video games playing them. I want to basically acknowledge, too, what you said before, where Wernher von Braun and other former Nazis said they got their technology from the aliens. I had this conversation with my father, who worked with captured German scientists at Martin Lockheed, and then it was called Martin Marietta at Littleton, Colorado, in the mountains outside Littleton. And I asked him, I said, what did they tell you about where this technology came from? And he said, to a person, they said they got it from the aliens. But what's interesting about it, Steve, I think it was highly compartmentalized, and here's why I say that. My father said that he never talked to one German who personally met with an alien, but they were told by their commanding officers that that's where the technology came from. What do you know about that?
Well, first of all, I know this, that some of the greatest statements, when you've got the father of modern rocketry, and two of them, Oberth, O-B-E-R-T-H, you've got Dr. Wernher von Braun, who was the head of NASA, and then you also have Goddard, by which obviously the Goddard Space Center is named after. When you have them all talking about this, first of all, Dave, when I talk about aliens, you can talk about extra-dimensionals, you can talk about extraterrestrials, but these people actually had, according to all of the research that I've been able to find, and others, by the way, there's many researchers out there dealing with the Third Reich, it was the spirit, in other words, the literal seances and the literal occult books that led to the invocation of evil spirits. Most people don't recognize the fact that when you're getting advanced mathematics in realms you didn't even know exist until you're taught those realms, somebody is graduated from evil spirit school with a PhD in deception. And so the idea is that there were two sources. And basically even Oberth made the statement, as well as Ben Rich, the head of Skunk Works, who's called the modern father of stealth aircraft. When you see them, they said there's two sources of UFOs out there, ours and theirs. Now, Ben Rich worked for the same company your father did. Actually, he was the head of it until 1972. And there are a lot of people that want to claim he didn't make the statements he made, but he did make the statements. He's on record. Eyewitnesses who passed away in the last 20 years, obviously, who had been, in their 80s and 90s, said they were present, and they knew exactly what I meant. Here's the deal. It's hard for people to understand that our technology is so far in advance that all the Saturn rocketry, obviously all of the shuttles, all of that which has gone before was nothing but a three-ring circus to keep the world away from the knowledge of how advanced the technology was. Even now, around the world, they're talking about the 2.5-mile in diameter subaqua craft that's moving, and there's another one now that they just picked up in the mainstream. When I say the mainstream, I don't mean like the New York Times or anything, okay? I'm talking about major newspapers with hundreds of thousands of subscribers and others that are picking up. There's multiples of these ships. So, I always get a fascinating chuckle by basically people that deny everything, yet these people are in the gamers world. And I believe this, that when we look back on the inception of video games were probably one of the greatest experiments in mind control in order to separate people into a virtual world and keep them out of the actual world where they'd ever see what the real world is like. It's kind of a mouthful, but what I mean is that they were produced fantasy to divorce them from reality.
You just said a mouthful right there, because I think what we're looking at is the programming of almost the entire young males in this country.
Oh, absolutely. And what have we produced in that way? I get, you know what I've called, some people, I won't use it on your show, but the P word, I call them the meow men, okay? And contrast the Meow Mix commercial, you know, meow, 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 to the Battle Hymn of the Republic. If you notice even now how decadent men's fashions are becoming, they're dressing the men up like androgynous castrata. And these, you know, obviously in the Renaissance, those were castrated men who were dilettantes. They dressed up like women. So the point is that we have right now, in my opinion, so don't get mad at Dave. You want to get mad. We have a group of emasculated men. We have a group of estrogenated men. We have a absolute war party of Amazons, and you'll have to go into Greek mythology, the warrior women, the Xena, the warrior princess types. And if you see a complete role reversal, and you know, even the Bible, it says that God is against me because all the men in the midst of thee are women. I think it's in Nahum. You know, and I could be wrong, either Nahum or Hosea right now. But the point is, Dave, is that that's a function of God's judgment on a land. And unfortunately, you talk about role reversal and an identity crisis. We're talking about, and if you think about this, it makes perfect sense. You're watching, if you will, the Western male be bred out of existence. The idea of sex robots, and this is important. This has to do everything with Antarctica. If people understood that cloning, and you and I talked about this on a previous show, but imagine when a robot has skin that feels like the real thing, that has an AI program that can communicate with you, but not only can the AI program communicate you, AI is artificial intelligence, but it can read your thoughts. So before you even think, they're going to respond. A normal woman or normal man, unless they've lived as husband and wife usually, you know, can pick up when the other one's thinking something. But can you imagine how far? Now, what is the purpose of robot sex? It's to destroy the seed of humanity. And this is something else that people better understand. When the Muslims make the statement that the men in the West you can't even breed with your women. I'm quoting one, breed with your women anymore, and our women's wombs will become our weapon of, what is it called, where they rape, pillage, and plunder, conquest, okay? That's why they have multiple wives and multiple children. They believe in that. So conquest doesn't always come out of the barrel of a gun. Conquest comes out by those who can identify the failings of a society and then build on those failures and basically intercept and provide. It's the Hegelian dialectic. Well, the problem is identified, the solution is provided to the problem, but it ends up in the total enslavement of the targeted population. So we're in toast. It's the same thing in the world of science. It's the same thing in the world of religion. We're going to be told that Jesus is not the Son of God. We'll be shown videos claiming that the aliens created Jesus to give us something to believe in. The entire fracturization or the fractal world is going to come into a battle with the real world, and people are going to literally not know which way to turn, what to do. They're going to question their own sanity. And Jesus said, men's hearts failing them for fear for looking after those things coming upon the earth. So as these things come upon the earth, look, hey, it's not Dave Hodges and Steve Quayle. They're posting YouTube videos of triangular-shaped spacecraft that go from 3 lights to a center light and then disappear and jump space. It's not us, Dave, that's making all of the eyewitness reports. We report on it, and then, basically the naysayers, the trolls, the shills, and the paid propagandists, you carried the article, and I don't know if it was a year ago, but you carried the article on the Department of Propaganda, and now we're seeing it full fury, are we not?
Absolutely. It's gone full force, Steve. It's in our face.